Hey, Danny Ray with Pinnacle Quote Life Insurance Specialist. I want to come to you today and talk about burial insurance and pros and cons of it. Okay, burial insurance or final expense. All right, are affordable life insurance policies that simply cover a person's last expenses. Okay, like a funeral. Okay, generally, burial insurance is offered to people between the ages of 50 and 85. Okay, unlike term life insurance policies, burial insurance policies provide permanent coverage. Okay, they are not defined by any time. They will not expire. Okay, rather, if you make sure you pay your premiums in the policy, it will be covered for final expenses for your entire life until you pass away. Some cases in burial policies, they'll have what's called an endowment. If you live to be 100 years old, they'll just cut you a check for the per face amount of the policy. Okay, again, burial policies do accumulate cash value. They have a cash value, cash value feature where you can accumulate tax deferred savings. Choose from basically there's two really basic kinds of burial policies. Okay, there's level benefits. With this policy, you'll be able to cover it as soon as your application is approved, and a graded benefit. In some cases, a lot of guaranteed acceptance policies are graded benefit. Okay, usually unhealthy people get that, or people that are just not able to get term policies, traditional term policies, due to health issues. Okay, a graded benefit policy is basically a graded benefit policy that you'll usually need to wait 2 years, in some cases 3, depending on the carrier, for approval of coverage when the coverage actually begins. If death occurs before then, only paid premiums will be refunded back to the beneficiary, and so depending where you go, usually up to 10 to 20% on top of that. So you definitely get more out of it than when you put into it. All right. Now, graded benefit life plans are usually for those with serious health conditions, like I said. They're a type of, again, a guaranteed issue, a guaranteed acceptance policies. Since you do not need to answer any health questions, okay, they don't ask anything, and you're pretty much guaranteed acceptance to get approved. And approval is guaranteed, like I said. It will be more expensive because, again, they're assessing risk, you're unhealthy, but it may be the only option for coverage for some people that can't get a traditional term or any kind of other policy. Okay. On the other hand, a level benefit plan is a bit more strict, okay, about who they accept. Okay, and here's a pretty much common questions that you'll be asked if you do want a burial policy. Okay, how much burial life insurance do you need? Okay, usually burial policies maximum usually 50 grand. Okay, there are some companies that will offer up to 100,000. All right, and again, who should get a burial policy? The most appropriate applicant that would really need a burial policy is an older individual, somebody in their senior elder years, okay, that does not have enough money for term life insurance policies, big face amounts, but does not want their family to cover their own final expenses. Again, if you pass away, you don't want that bill falling in your kid's lap, at the worst possible time after they lose a parent. And nobody's got earmarked, $15,000 for somebody else's funeral. So, if somebody passes away suddenly, especially, trying to get together 15 or 20 grand from the average American is hard to do, without going into hock or putting yourself into debt. All right. So again, these are some of the companies that do offer some really good burial policies that we like. Okay, AIG is a very good burial policy, guaranteed issue too. Okay, I like Foresters has a fantastic product. Okay, Surety Life. Okay, those are the top 3 burial policies I like to offer. Okay, so there's others out there, but primarily I like to use Foresters, Surety Life, AIG for guaranteed issue, Gerber Life Insurance for guaranteed issue as well. Really, really good. Okay, now as far as some people want to know how's the application for a burial insurance policy. Now, typically term, most of the times you have to take an exam. Okay, there's an array of underwriting. If you have health issue, it could take up to 2 months to underwrite your policy. When applying for burial insurance, you most likely won't need to take a medical exam at all. Okay, some carriers will require it, but I say 95% of them don't. However, you will be asked some general questions. Okay, they'll want to know how old you are, obviously, how tall you are, how much do you weigh. There will be some sort of a build chart, depending on who you go to. Occupation, obviously, if you're hanging outside of a window of a building cleaning windows, they might consider that a risk. Okay, whether or not you smoke cigarettes, primarily with burial policies, cigarette smoking doesn't really affect the rate as much as if term policies. It does go up significantly, but not 300-400% in some cases. Okay. Now again, since there usually isn't a medical exam, applications are approved pretty quickly. In some cases within the same day or 2 days. Okay. You'll need to choose between paying monthly premiums or paying up a single lump sum if you choose to. Sometimes they have 20-year pay as well. Okay. Some opts, to get funeral insurance plans that include yearly, semi-annual premium payments as well. You can, again, not only just to pay up, but you can do yearly, quarterly, semi-annually. You also need to choose your beneficiary. Okay, beneficiary, this can be either a loved one, or you can choose a specific funeral home, okay, that you choose to do your pre-arrangements perhaps. However, if you do the latter, they'll obviously committed to that specific funeral home. In other words, you leave a beneficiary to a funeral home, they have to go to that funeral home. When you die, that's where they're going to cut the check. Okay. Now, again, how much does final expenses usually cost? There are many things to consider when deciding what you want covered for a burial policy. Okay, your funeral. Usually funerals cost about, on average, 10 grand. 10 grand if you opt in to be cremated. I mean, it could be up towards the 3,000. Usually it's between 1,500 and 3 grand. Any debts you may have, okay, something that's loose ends that you don't want your family to take care of. Death benefit does not necessarily have to be only for a funeral expense. It can also be from a little bit of debts that you have. And how do you get a burial, a very good and affordable burial policy? Age is usually the best way to get the best policy. I cannot stress it enough. Okay, there's no better time than now. The younger you are when you get it, the lower the cost will be. Okay, meanwhile, any kind of life insurance for seniors will be significantly more expensive than, say, somebody my age in their 40s. Okay, like for any kind of life insurance out there, you should shop around and compare prices before deciding on a policy. Okay, and you can to make sure that you put that money back in your pocket. You just don't want to get the first person you go to, and stay away from storefronts. They will crack you over the head with a rate. Okay, and you know the ones I'm talking about. All right, here come the Pinnacle quote. Again, we have a list of burial policies that we use that have the best price in the industry, with companies like AIG, companies like Surety. Foresters is a fantastic simplified issued burial policy. They do up to 100 grand as well, and make sure they're all A+ rated with AM Best. So with that said, you really got to make sure that for burial expenses, usually on average, people usually get a $15,000 to $25,000 burial policy on average. Okay, so with that said, that's a little bit about burial policies. Okay, if you have any questions on this topic, feel free to give me a call. I'm made available pretty much all the time, 9 to 9, up until 12 o'clock on call during the week. And you can reach me during the weekend too. All right, just leave me a voicemail. I'll get back to you within 15-20 minutes. You can reach us at 855-380-3300, extension 2. Also visit us on the web at pinnaclequote.com, and you can go ahead and get an instant quote right online. Okay, you also have an option to go ahead and do either a term policy, a burial, or final expense policy, and also accidental as well through the website. And you can click on the Let's Chat, and you can schedule time to speak to me. Okay, so again, also you can go to pinnaclequote.com/blog, and you can have some interesting topics based on, you'll have a lot of educational stuff on there as far as what kind of rates you can get, and certain topics whether you have certain health impairments. So with that said, this is Danny Ray with Pinnacle Quote, 855-380-3300, extension 2, and I hope you guys are doing great. Bye.